So are we in agreement that we would give Yuki a little bit more grace in the Red Bull car than we would Liam?
Obviously, the best move there is just to slot in right behind him. Hard to do that. Hard to just accept that in the moment.
It is.
But definitely the best move.
Had he done it too, there's a world that he could have caught Max and gone for an overtake on Max.
Which brings me, I think, to the biggest McLaren problem this weekend is that their strategy, especially in the pits, was not good.
Uneventful, lonely.
He got past Isaac Hadjar. You know, that's good. It's weird
Isaac
seeing
had a great
Isaac
race.
Hadjar fighting Lewis Hamilton.
Crazy race for him.
Maybe we do need to put him in Red Bull.
No, stop. No,
Let's put Max
we're not doing
in
that.
the V carb.
Yep. Yeah,
And
we
he'll
never said we're
still
taking
get
Yuki
away.
out.
Yeah.
Get laced up.
Let's go.
It's time for Banter with the boys.
Yo, welcome back to Banter with the Boys, Fast Laps, the Japan recap Bahrain preview. It is, according to our notes here, it is April 8th. 7:30 p.m. is the start. It is actually 8:03 p.m. because Smelty's late today. So, but we're here,
Say, Livy.
and it looks like everybody's here. So let's play. Mike, welcome back.
I've
Again?
been here the whole time.
You have.
Oh, you were here last week when we were
Kevin
not
didn't
here.
let me leave.
Oh,
Oh.
did he feed you?
No.
Oh,
He gave me some water.
oh,
Nice and
sweet,
hydrated.
sweet. I don't know how we get on this subject every week. Last week
This
it
is
was
my
me
fault.
living in Kevin's basement, and
Now it's
when we
Mike.
were wondering if he was feeding me, and now Mike's apparently living here.
We were worried that I wouldn't come back, so he's just like, I won't let you leave.
Well, so you're gonna be here next week, is all we know. Mike will be here next week. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you for welcoming
As
me
always.
back.
I listened back to our episode from 2 weeks ago now, which feels too long, actually, while we're in season. But I listened to that episode today, and in the ending, I forgot that I was totally like, and Joe, thanks for being here. Awesome. And then I moved on or something, and I felt really bad about it. So sorry about that.
No, that was gold.
I said
Comedy gold.
something along those lines,
Yeah.
but it was
Joe,
absolutely.
you were here. Anyway.
yeah. Just rubbish. But anyway, yeah. So with that, I don't think we got anything that's crazy that should be mentioned now. I don't know. I'm going to try to come up with something fun to put right here instead of what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Right before we go into the recap. But I don't know what it's going to be.
Heck yeah.
But anyway, let's, Kev, let's just go right into the Japanese GP recap. So, just like any good host of any podcast out there, I didn't really catch too much of the pre-race stuff. So,
Pre-race
did you guys
stuff.
catch that?
Yeah. I watch highlights for every practice. The biggest notes, Jack Duen misses FP1 while they give their reserve driver a chance to drive. And then FP2, he crashes the car at the start of it.
Okay, yeah, I knew that.
He only gets a single practice session.
The noose tightens around his neck.
Flavio was coming.
Just wait to the
Flavio is
GP.
waiting.
Just wait to
Flavio
the
giveth,
GP.
Flavio taketh. Lots of fires, per usual. Winter in Japan, very, very dry.
Yep.
If it weren't for the rain, pre-race, probably would have seen it a couple of times again. But lots of fires, many, many red flags. I think I have a note somewhere. I want to say we had at one point 5 red flags in one of the sessions. It was just one after the other. It just kept on happening. Yeah. And then into quali, Max complaining the car didn't have grip. Obviously not really an issue. Hadjar,
he's a beast, so.
Yeah, Hadjar having bad seatbelt issues, complaining a lot about them. Another red flag in Q2.
A seatbelt issue would be very annoying.
Yes.
To be
He was
dealing
in
with.
literal pain.
Yeah.
That is the last thing you want to be worrying about while driving a literal rocket ship, risking your life. You know what I mean? And that little minor inconvenience could actually be, like you said, he's in pain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know if we got any big specifics, but it was happening throughout practice, and they got into qualifying thinking they fixed it. was not fixed. I don't think they fixed it at the end of quali, but they did find a way to negate it,
Remedy
a
it
little bit.
a little bit?
Make it easier for him.
Sure.
The biggest thing we were watching, especially in qualifying, was Tsunoda now in the Red Bull, Liam now in the V Carb. Tsunoda qualifying one position below Liam at the end of the day. His first race in a Red Bull, can't really say I expected him to be P2, right? I expected him to probably be out of the 10, which he was. Did I expect him to be lower than Liam? I guess I would have given it fair either way.
One more week. One more
Probably
week. But
one
it
more
needs to
week.
be a drastic difference, I think,
He
next week.
has proved
There's a
himself
reason
already.
that he made the move, that they made the move to put him in the car.
Exactly. And that's just it. He's already proved that he's better in the car. I mean, he
100%.
qualified higher than Liam did, by a landslide. So yeah, that's really all we got for pre-race. Fourth consecutive Japan pole for Max. Top 3, by the way, separated by less than a tenth of a second.
I did also want to point out, I just jotted this down, that Liam made it into Q2 by 0.016. And I think that was Hulkenberg. He was just a hair ahead. And so I just noticed that, and that was brought up, and I was like, oh, let's bring that up. That's
He made
a
it.
fun little fact. He
Yeah,
actually made it into
Made it.
Q2, his
He
first
made it.
time. First time all season.
Yep.
Narrowly.
I think you'll find more success in that car than in the Red Bull.
I agree.
I agree 100%. And I like, we'll get into the GP, but I don't think we need to worry about too much yet about his performance, even in the GP. But
Yep.
Kev has a question, I think.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So
Kev.
when Yuki goes to the Red Bull seat,
When Yuki goes to
they
the Red
just
Bull seat.
leave the car as it is and say good luck. Do they tailor it to him a bit? Do they copy paste his settings from the V car to the new Red Bull? How do they tailor his car to him?
So Kev's wondering if they change the car up, to suit Yuki a little bit better, or do they just slap him into the exact same car that Liam was in and just say, go for it? I would imagine they would have to change something for sure the seat changes, right?
100%.
The seat has
Yeah.
to change.
Yeah.
But outside of that, tech stuff, I'm not sure. I would imagine. I don't know.
You have
I don't know.
something?
I'd be curious.
You look like you have something more important. I'll just say my piece first. I think it's probably more of the latter. I think he just kind of jumps into the car that's already made, especially since they had a week, 2 weeks to really do anything to it. So I definitely think, minor setting changes that would fit him well. Obviously they got him in practice, and then they did slight wing adjustments, the things that were within that aren't huge, part upgrades. And then further down the line, they will, the car is broken currently. It's a bad car. Max he has to drive really hard to get it to do what he wants it to do.
He has to drive like a WDC champion.
He does, and he does. So I think, but naturally, the car will, kind of form to both of the drivers a little bit better, especially now that they've seen that drivers can't drive the car, right? Unless they're Max Verstappen.
So are we in agreement that we would give Yuki a little bit more grace in the Red Bull car than we would Liam, or not so much? Like if Yuki doesn't get into points next week, then arguably it's not a ton different than what Liam's shown. You know what I mean? And I'm on the hater of Liam train, not as much as Duan, and I'll get into that later. But I don't know. I think the Racing Bull's a good spot for Liam, and we'll see. But does Yuki only get 2 races?
I would give Yuki more time. I think part of the reason why I'm not upset that they moved Liam as fast as they did is because Liam never should have had that seat to begin with. It should have gone to
And they know
Yuki
that.
to begin with. And they
know that.
if they didn't before, they do now for sure.
Right.
And so that was part of the reason I was so against Liam being in that seat, is because he didn't deserve that seat. He didn't earn that seat, and Yuki did. And so now Yuki's in that seat, and he needs time to acclimate to it. The car is very different from the V-Carb. So he does need some races to adjust to the changes in the way that this car is just more on edge than the V-Carb is. And we've seen the fact that he can make those changes at least better than Liam could have in a shorter time frame. And I think that giving him some more time, more than 2 races, is probably fine.
I definitely agree that he should have been the one they picked first. For that reason, he should not be given more time. He should be expected to perform already better than Liam, and he has been. I mean, we're one race in, but we shouldn't, like, 2 races is the max I'm giving him. And he's already proved himself that he's better in the car. I'm not saying, to be specific, I'm not expecting to be at the level of Max Verstappen because I think the car's flawed.
Yep.
But he has more experience in F1. He should be able to drive the car better just in general. For that reason, I am not going to give him like 5 races to like get into points. He needs to get into points in the next 2 races, in my opinion.
Or
low
honestly,
points. Doesn't even need to be high points.
Honestly,
low
in
points.
Bahrain, he needs to get in points, and I think he will.
I think I just want to see like we've seen what Checo was doing with the car last year. Checo was struggling to get into points, and that was Checo who had years in that car and experience in that car.
And the year
worked
prior
on
had
the
a
development
pretty
of that
good
car.
year.
Right. And so if he struggled that much, how can we, and Checo was struggling to get 1 or 2 points, 4 points a race, then like how can I expect Yuki to do that in a brand new car in 2 races? Like, and
How
I
can we
think him
expect
getting
Liam then, you
him
know?
expecting, because Liam should have never been in that seat. Liam, like, I agree, technically you should be giving Liam more time, but Liam should never have been in that seat. He's still too new to Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
He's only driven 11 races to Yuki is about to hit his 100th race this season.
Yeah.
So like Yuki has that time.
They
He
did
has that
Liam a
experience.
disservice.
Yes.
Really.
And really Liam,
It hurts his image.
It does.
If we really care about that right now in his career, but like at some point it does become a factor a little bit. You know what I mean?
and we've seen like with your boy Pierre, like at this point, I don't think he ever gets another chance to get put back in that Red Bull seat.
I mean, no.
He
no
had
way.
his chance. They gave him 2 races, and they're like, "Look, buddy, you messed up. You didn't Max Verstappen it." And so I think because of that, like his career is damaged permanently for that. And if I'm Liam,
That's a
I'm
good
looking
point.
at
Probably.
I'm looking at sometime in the next few years, maybe looking at moving outside of Red Bull because there's clearly not going to be any more future in VCarb. Like,
Probably not. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. I think if he were to be picked right off the bat, start of the season, he probably would have. Well, no, I think he probably could have very well been kicked out if he gave the same performance as Liam. Like he could have just been kicked out, and Liam could have swapped in.
Sure.
I think it's
I
good.
just don't see that happening.
It's good that Liam had the car
As
for 2
quickly.
races because now he's a benchmark and he's already surpassing it. So I don't think he's in trouble. I don't think he's in much danger of losing the seat. That being
Not
said,
this season.
not that being
I
said.
don't think this season he would lose the seat. at
No,
all.
God no. His 100th race is coming up this season. He needs to drive like it.
Yep.
So that's why I'm giving him like you got the seat that you deserve. Now you have to drive like it.
Yep.
It's again obvious that the Red Bull's broken at the moment, but low points is what they're expecting.
Yeah, and I agree. I want to see him in low points. I think that's an expectation too. I think I'm just giving him a little bit more than 2 races. And as long as he's finishing close to the points, if he's finishing way in the back, P18 like Liam was, that's damning. That's bad. Like we can't have that. But like finishing 12th is pretty close to the points. Like finishing 11th is pretty close to the points. So like if he's doing that for the first couple races,
race was fine.
for the first couple races, I'm okay with that because he's acclimating to a new car. Like,
I don't know. I feel like I need to see him P8 to P10 at least. You at least need to be getting something every race. And the Red Bull number 2 car, yes, with flaws, but Ferrari's not perfect either right now. You know, Isaac drove a heck of a race putting a V carb up there, but like I feel like you can't. Yeah, first race again in the Red Bull, but I think definitely in Bahrain, Isaac can't be beating you.
I agree.
You know, like
you can't be getting
you're-
beat by your sister team.
But
at
the
all.
issue is
it
it's like,
can't-
what
I
are
don't
they-
think it can even be a question. And
What-
again, Hadjar had a great race. I'm not taking anything away from him, but
what do they do? Like at that point, it's like, okay, well, Yuki isn't working in this car, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna put Isaac in the car next?
No.
Like,
No, that's why I
because
think-
like
I think that's
you
why
can
I
only
think-
put so much on the driver because at a certain point,
for sure.
don't
That's why I
need-
think his seat's safe for the season.
You don't
Right.
need you don't need a WDC in the, well, I mean, it helps, obviously. You need a driver with a lot of experience that knows how to mold themselves to a car.
Yes.
It's unfortunate Yuki's been in one car for his entire like tenure.
Yep.
But that much experience, being able to learn the car and having driven for so long, that's what they need in that second spot right now to get them even close to constructors, which is obviously what they want.
Right.
Well, and that's my point is That's why he's just got to be. He's got to be in points.
Yep.
If they want to battle for constructors, I mean,
he has to. Max cannot.
Max
do it
isn't
alone.
going to be able to win every race this
Nope.
year. We know that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Man, I can't wait to talk about McLaren too. But
Last quick note, I forgot to write this down in my notes on the Yuki thing. I don't know if you guys heard this, but Helmet Watch, Helmet came out and made another stupid comment.
what did he say this
Time he talked about Yuki and his performance in Japan and talked about the fact that he did good and said that he tried to deflect blame for why Yuki didn't move up to Red Bull on Adrian Newey and said that Adrian Newey was preventing Yuki from moving up to the Red Bull seat for some incident that Yuki had back like
I don't
2.5 years ago.
I don't buy that garbage at all.
And Adrian Newey's wife, I forget her name, she came out and was like, no, he was on gardening leave. Like, he was out gardening at this time. Like, there's no way that he prevented this from happening.
Yeah, I don't buy that at all.
And she like never puts her face out in front of the media, but she's like, leave my husband alone. He has nothing to do with you guys right now. Like,
he's just opening his gums. He's just flapping.
right.
He's just flapping. His
God,
gums right now.
old man yells at clouds.
Yeah, literally. Let's get into this here. First off, before you even start, like, I thought there were some pretty cool liveries this weekend between Red Bull. Haas had a really great one,
Amazing.
honestly.
Loved
like, would love to have a picture of that.
Right.
But Red Bull. I mean, we've already talked about
Who won the
Yuki,
race?
but Max.
Max won the race.
Max won the race.
Who won the race? Who won the race?
Oh my
I saw
gosh!
Bacon this earlier.
his
and I was like,
shirt.
no way.
He's wearing his Max Verstappen shirt.
That's right, baby. It's back.
Here's your
The
cue.
four-time WDC.
Unbelievable. Oh my god!
I can't believe it.
Oh my god! For our Spotify listeners, I'm so sorry. You gotta go see this on YouTube. You just missed. Oh my god, that was awesome.
Oh, I can't believe you just did that.
If you want to see Joe doing his best
Tweaking.
viral video mimic,
I'm tweaking
my god, it
after
was
that
awesome.
Max win, baby. You know what? I'm on the train now. I'm a fan now.
Thug life.
Thug life.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Oh, that was perfect.
But in all seriousness,
Wow, where are we?
that was a pretty good drive for Max.
Wow. That was a great drive for Max.
A comment that I heard from the commentators during the race kind of put it perfectly is like qualifying was almost better than the race, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's where like he really like that's where like all the hype came from. Is
Yeah.
he just like again top three within a tenth of a second. Crazy work from Max.
No, for sure. And at the end of the race, you could hear him, like, he sounded like actually excited, like in the
Yeah.
car,
Yeah,
which,
it was awesome.
which is weird. Like, I feel like you don't hear excitement. We're not used to hearing excitement out of Max after a win because it's just like expected,
Yeah.
you know, but like hearing that excitement, like, oh my God, like it just confirms, like, yeah, I drove the absolute piss out of that car and I'm real happy I got the dub today. So that was just fun to see. Other than him being able to keep the McLarens behind him, he shouldn't have been able to, in my opinion. Oh God, the McLarens really pissed me off this weekend. The team, and I'm not even a fan of them, but they pissed me off. Do we want to say anything else about Max, real quick, before we get into McLaren?
It's just he proves once and again. Obviously,
So, sorry. I was just gonna say, for our points, you know, that we're doing, Max winning in Japan really puts a wrench in things. Because, like, I think so, because we're all, you know, talking, you know, Max is in some of our podiums, you know.
Yep.
Last week you said this is the last week Max might be in your podium. I'm not going to hold you to it, obviously.
thank
but
you.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It puts a wrench in it.
I might though.
3 weeks ago, we weren't even like, 3 weeks ago, we were like, you know, maybe. But now who knows?
I
Who
mean, you
knows?
can-
If
you
Yuki
can
get
literally-
points, they can climb up in the constructors.
you could put him at. I mean, it's crazy to say. So you could put him in a Haas at this point, and you can't count him out of it.
I
Like,
know.
It's
I know.
insane.
I would like to formally apologize for putting Red Bull at what did I say? Like
fourth, fifth, or fifth. I can check. Really
Oh no,
quick.
putting
I got
Max.
it right
I put
here.
Max at
Fourth.
fifth. I put Max at
Yeah,
fifth.
he put
I apologize
Max
for putting
at
Max at
fifth.
fifth. I did not
Lewis
account for the
Hamilton
Max
is in-
Verstappen factor.
Lewis Hamilton is in fourth in Mike's WDC, one spot above Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I did not account for the Max factor. I was
crazy.
like, this car is gonna be bad, and then Max Verstappen was
That's
like, so
tinfoil hat
what?
stuff right there.
What if I just won
Max
anyways?
Verstappen is like, he's like, gotcha. The car's always been bad.
Yeah, right? Oh, my God. All right, let's just get into it. McLaren. Somebody
we
else
have-
can go first, but
I mean, we have a lot. I mean, probably the most to talk about for McLaren.
for sure.
I guess like the
I mean,
one
the
thing,
number one thing, 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Yeah,
on the
really finished.
podium.
Really good finish. Obviously not where they want to be or where they need to be,
Broke
but
100 points.
uh-huh.
Broke 100 points in constructors.
They did. That's
Yep,
good.
That's a big threshold.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to overtake them in constructors if they
agree.
keep having the races that they're having. So I guess just an easy one to start out with, the pit lane incident between Max and Lando.
Oh, yeah.
Lando calling for him pushing him off. Max semi calling for him unsafe release. I don't think either of them are really that easy to argue for. So I'm happy with just a racing incident at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's not me like. I honestly don't think it was an unsafe release because he obviously had room to be in the pit lane with him.
Yeah.
Like if anything, it would have been more of like a contention by the end of the pit lane, but obviously the rules aren't too specific against it. So
This is one where I'm siding with Max on this one, or like there's not really a side. You know what I mean? I kind of agree. Like I'm glad it was just a racing incident, just because like I don't know. I don't think it was anybody's fault. But if there was fault, Lando maybe tried to sneak in there, but technically he has the right to do that. So it's just I don't know. I'm glad it wasn't. I'm glad nothing happened to Lando's car.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
severely in that.
Yeah.
Because that
was
could have
close.
ruined the whole weekend for McLaren.
He almost hit the barrier as he went out.
yeah, it was definitely a bad call from Lando. Obviously the best move there is just to slot in right behind him. Hard
It
to do
would've
that. Hard to just accept that in the moment,
It is.
but definitely the best move.
Had he done it too, there's a world that he could have caught Max and gone for an overtake on Max. But like because he did that mistake, it put him 2 full seconds behind Max.
Yeah.
And then he's just spending the rest of the race trying to chase him. And that's just too hard to do, especially on a track like Suzuka with dirty air.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question for McLaren. In the last 20 laps, would Oscar have had a better opportunity, better chance? Do you think he would have had? Do you think he could have caught Max and at least made it more interesting than Lando did?
No, simply because he stayed behind Lando. He couldn't fully catch and overtake Lando. And even if he could, he would be stuck behind Max, still getting dirty air, and So, yeah, I don't think so.
I think part of it too was that I think they could have let Oscar pass, and Oscar would have had a better chance than Lando would have. Not by a lot. I don't think he would have caught him, but he would have had a better chance. I think the other thing is that they had, the radios were saying like Oscar had put the thing on. It was like, hey, can we try and see if I can take a crack at Max? And they're like, okay, we're gonna check with Lando quick. And they came back to like, we checked with Lando, and it looks like he's giving his full pace. And that was kind of like a call to Oscar that's like, hey, look, he's pushing as hard as he can. So if we do let him pass, then there's not going to be a great chance that, if you can't catch Max, that he's going to catch up to you and you guys can swap positions back. There's also the threat of George Russell behind you guys. And if we don't have somebody fast in that third position, there's a chance that George Russell could catch and potentially take the spot away from constructors, because obviously McLaren cares more about their constructor standings.
Oh, and it's. I mean, they do. I think they really want to get Lando a WDC though too.
Oh, of course.
And like that's why I think they just also didn't decide. And again, the dirty air, I get it, but I think that's another reason why low key they didn't decide to like let Piastri take a chance and try to pass at again a track that's harder to overtake. Risk losing both cars, and now your weekend's really messed up. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, that's what I'm keying on for the whole season is how they treat both drivers. Because I think it's going to change, and I think it's going to lean Lando, and I don't think Piastri's going to be happy about it. Now, post race, Piastri seemed fine. happy the team got 2 and 3.
Yep.
It was funny though, and I think this is just emotion, probably, and during the race, again, the final laps, thinking that he can do a better job than what Lando's doing, but Lando locks up the brakes, to which Oscar just says cheeky on the comms. I thought that was hilarious. Just for the moment in time, and probably a little bit of frustration, just but I don't know.
That's funny.
I don't know. Oh, I think it's just gonna be a problem. But again, like you guys are saying, no reason they should lose the constructors right now with the way they're performing.
Yep.
As long as they don't get to that point of wrecking each other.
Yeah,
I was wrong. It was Charles in 4th. Sorry, I said George earlier. It was Charles. I'm correcting myself.
You're definitely right. It's not going to be. It's definitely not the last race that they're going to run into this issue. They have 2 really good drivers, and it's going to be a problem the entire season, where they have to pick one or the other, or they have to strategize differently. Which brings me, I think, to the biggest McLaren problem this weekend is that their strategy, especially in the pits, was not good. Commentators are saying this. I didn't quite agree in the moment, but looking back, I do see where they at least, even if it wasn't the right call, it was a call to do something slightly different to see if it worked. They pit Lando the exact same time Max did, when they could have held him onto the track, because no one was really doing undercuts very well.
No.
They could have held him on the track, let him just have clean air for a little bit. Drive that McLaren with really good DEG kind of management, and then maybe come out closer to Max because he's now in traffic, and you aren't.
Or potentially even ahead of Max. It's a
potentially ahead of
McLaren in
Max,
clean air. We see how dominant those McLarens are in clean air.
Yep.
They just tell them, they're like, hey, Max is pushing, or Max is pitting, push. 100% this lap. And then pit at the end of this lap. Do that. You have a chance of overcutting.
Again, may not have been the right strategy decision, but I agree with the commentators in saying that it would have been a better choice than doing nothing.
Agreed.
So more to look out for that. Unfortunately, again, 2-3, still a really good placing for McLaren, but
Great.
could have been more.
Can they repeat, you think, this weekend in Bahrain? Or is one? I mean,
Unfortunately,
I think one of them could probably get the win. Actually, in my opinion, we'll get to it. But,
their cars have not been good at Bahrain because they're usually not good at the start of the season. So we haven't really seen a decent McLaren car at Bahrain yet.
They were doing really well in testing.
Testing.
They looked really dominant during the testing. So,
yeah, I think they'll be able to compete, no problem, and I think they will. Sweep if we do dare say that, sweep the podium, being both cars on the podium. And I think one of them could win it this weekend. Let's see. We talked about McLaren, Ferrari finishing 4 and P4, P7. Whatever. I mean, the rest of the race is really kind of, to me, a little bit of whatever, but I mean, P4, P7 for Ferrari isn't horrible.
not bad.
You got split by Mercedes, who's having an interesting year. They're a little bit of a dark horse for me to climb up the constructors because Antonelli had a great weekend. But again, Ferrari, getting off track here. I think it's a matter of time before Charles is challenging for these podiums a little bit harder. It's just a matter of who he's challenging, and I don't think it's going to be McLaren's. I think it'll be Charles and Max fighting for third.
I mean, you got to throw George in there too. But he's
100%.
consistently already fighting
100%.
George.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything to say about Hamilton. He said it was a lonely P7 is what he came out and said. Just uneventful, lonely.
He got past Isaac Hadjar. That's good. It's weird
Isaac
seeing
had a great
Isaac
race.
Hadjar fighting Lewis Hamilton. Right? That's insanity.
Isaac had a great what pass? I think it was the pass on Carlos at one point earlier in the race. Great pass on the outside. I think that was on turn 1 even.
Yeah.
Which
is a crazy place to overtake.
The balls. Yeah. The commentator, I'll save it for comms, actually. The commentator said something wild that I like that I'm going to use instead of saying the balls that, it was just funny. Anyway.
Yeah.
That was funny. Let's see. I don't know. You guys got anything on Ferrari?
No.
No, a little, obviously,
Do you think this race, drivers are even comparing it? I don't have names. Allegedly, we'll go allegedly here. that drivers are comparing it to Monaco, just as far as
Okay.
I've been hearing
eventful
about that
and-
too.
So
And I don't know how I feel about that,
the
to be
problem
honest.
is that Monaco and this, I guess, like they're the same problem but different reasons for the problem. Monaco is really, really thin, so it's really hard to overtake anywhere. Suzuka just doesn't have very good overtaking spots, just in general. And I don't think a lot of tracks have very good overtaking spots nowadays. I think Bahrain will be good because we have a very long straight. Vegas, is meant for overtaking.
And that's where Oscar thought that if he had a little bit longer straight, he would have made the move
Yeah.
on Lando
Yeah.
outside of team orders.
So it's I think we're
Allegedly.
we're unfortunately going to see races that are boring, and unfortunately it might be more than we'd like to see. Because the top three are so aggressive, I'm hoping we won't see one person,
Scamper off.
idling in first the entire time.
Yeah.
But it's possible.
I think what we've seen that you're right that it's not the same as Monaco in the fact that like Monaco is small. I think the issue isn't the fact that Suzuka doesn't have good overtaking areas because it actually does have good places to overtake. I think the biggest issue is in like how windy some of these corners are and how fragile some of these cars are in dirty air. It becomes really hard when you're in the turbulent air to keep your car on the line and really pushing. And that's very different from where the cars were. And because of that, it makes it hard where, like, you watch, like, Sector 1. We would watch Lando always, like, get right up onto the back of Max, and then he'd start losing him in Sector 1 because he's trying to fight through that dirty air and through those S's, and so Max would just crawl away. And then when we get to the big straights, like 139R and the pit straight, then we'd see them, like, come back together because those are the straight lines where he's able to find that speed. But I think the biggest issue is actually in the turbulent air. And because of that, there are people who are instead calling that what we should do is we should add a second DRS zone right after Spoon
Yeah,
that leads
for 139R,
into 139R. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I agree with that.
I don't hate that.
It would be a short
They need
DRS.
they need to like.
wonder what the process is to do that. Is that just like
So, yeah, because I mean, we saw what happened when you don't disable DRS on a turn with Doohan during practice. You go, you go into the wall at
Yep.
as you said to me at Mock Jesus.
At Mock Jesus.
Yeah,
that's
and-
funny? You said Mock Jesus.
I said
did.
Mock
God,
Jesus.
God, I just said that the other day about
Yeah.
something.
So and that is like basically it's like the exact same scenario there. You're going incredibly fast, and if I'm not mistaken, you may let off, but you definitely don't brake.
Yep.
And that's what activates the DRS without pressing the button. So they probably need a better way of regulating it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the DRS. I could be wrong here. I'm gonna fact check myself. I don't think there's like a DRS end zone. It's just when you brake.
Correct.
And then it's done.
Well, I mean, there is.
Like you have
but,
you have the line where your DRS can start,
Yeah.
but you don't have.
It doesn't.
I don't think you have an end
until you
line.
hit
Yeah.
the yeah.
Yeah.
Until you hit the.
They-
I think you're
I
right.
so
could
they-
be
I think you're right.
I could be 100% incorrect
seems
about
that way,
that,
though.
but that's how I see it. Yeah.
I don't think they have a spot where they're like, you need to close your DRS by this area, by this zone. It's just there's a zone on the track where it's like you can open your DRS at any point during this, but like at a certain point, it's not worth opening your DRS because if you do, then like you're coming up on a corner and you're just gonna go into the
Yeah,
freaking
but
wall.
what we're saying is it should shut though. Like it shuts when you brake, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah,
Or when
okay.
you press the button on your steering wheel.
So you do have a button that you can just shut it when you want
Yeah,
to too.
yeah, of course. That was kind of the. That's,
So I
that's-
wonder. I just wonder if
that's-
you do have to press the button then and then brake, or simultaneously do it, or if you brake and it automatically is like, oh, you probably want to slow down.
That's the issue with doing and why he crashes because like a lot of drivers in turn 1 in Suzuka, they will take their DRS down the pit straight, right? And then they'll manually close it and just let off the gas as they come into that corner because you're able to take that corner very
Higher
fast.
speed, sure, for sure.
And then as you come around the back end of that corner, that's where you start laying onto the brakes. And as you're exiting the corner is where you get back on the power to take you through the rest of the corner, right? And so because of that, a lot of drivers will manually close their DRS as they go into that straight. But Jack Doohan was like, watch my pro gamer move, and tried to keep his DRS open.
yeah,
And
not go well.
yeah.
I'm reading a couple. I don't know if this is again true. There might also be options for them the DRS to deactivate if you lift, and if that's the case, that kind of fixes that issue,
Right, yep.
A little bit. I think it's still
You're-
dangerous.
Okay,
but-
you said
So instead of
DRS would
having to
deactivate when you lift.
off throttle.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So you're going full throttle, and once you lift, DRS will.
God, I'd rather it do it when you go to brake.
I mean, it does.
It does.
But
It
does. I'm saying it should be both, probably.
Yeah,
it should be in scenarios like
because
this.
that would have prevented the do hand thing. but,
Exactly.
You know,
When he
so,
went to
yeah,
lift, it would have
yeah.
closed.
Because if you're
DRS.
For sure,
lifting, you're
for sure.
obviously turning, and you need downforce when you're turning.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. All right.
But I mean, that didn't happen with
good thing the
two-handed, so-
FIA listens to our pod and they're gonna
Yeah,
thank
take
gosh.
all this to heart and figure it out.
Mohammed,
Thank you, MBS.
Mohammed bin Sulayem, if you want to get on top of that,
Real quick, let's fly through these here. Mercedes again having a
solid race.
solid weekend. Antonelli, I believe he got fastest lap. No,
I think
Yeah.
so.
I think
Yeah,
he
I'm
even
pretty
got
sure.
fastest lap. So Antonelli really coming into his own here. Again, I think if Mercedes can stay consistent, they need like George needs to start beating Oscar or something for them to start gaining any sort of ground.
Yep.
On McLaren. I mean, same goes for Ferrari, and I just don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, who do you think can get second at this point right now today?
Second in constructors?
Yeah. Who's most set up best to get second right now? And it might, like low key, it might be freaking Mercedes.
I could
If
say
if Hamilton cannot get past Antonelli
I mean, I could give
or
you
get up to George, I mean, it's.
I could give you kind of a crazy take.
Do
Like,
you need the hat, or is it not that?
I don't
crazy?
know. I mean, so
Do we need a
let's
mid-tier
say,
hat?
let's say Max continuously hits podiums, and Mercedes and Ferrari are continuously fighting for that fourth, fifth position.
Yes.
Red Bull could still maybe
second?
get second. It'll be really difficult.
That'd be really hard.
Really difficult.
What if Max is at least getting second and third, or do you think he has to win consistently?
Winning would
for,
help.
For,
but I
well,
think
yeah.
consistently second
Winning
and
helps
third.
a lot of things.
Yeah, consistently second and third, probably not. So yeah, maybe not. I think, man.
But Ferrari and Mercedes are swapping fourth,
Antonelli-
every other race.
George has
So
been super consistent, and Antonelli has surprised me. I feel like
Yeah.
it's got to be
He is.
Mercedes, right?
He's surprising me a little
I'm,
bit.
I'm
too.
on the Mercedes train too. I think
Yeah.
Mercedes looks really good.
I think Ferrari will have a comeback eventually.
They will. They will. I think. I mean, P4 and 7 is not horrible, right? You're still fighting with the rest of them, with McLaren.
P4
not
obviously
necessarily,
P4 is
but
where you want to
with
be.
Mercedes, Yeah.
P4 is where you want to be right now.
So it's not the end of the world. Okay, Mercedes Racing Bulls. Isaac Hadjar,
Yeah, outstanding.
crazy race for him.
maybe we do need to put him in Red Bull.
No,
You know
stop. No,
Let's
we're
put
not, we're not
Max
doing
in
that.
the V carb.
Yep. Yeah,
And
we
he'll
never said we're
still
taking
get a
Yuki
win.
out.
Yeah.
No, Isaac having a great race.
I mean, he's proven that the V carb is not a bad car, right?
No.
like,
And he's got a lot of pace. in
Which
him, too.
Yuki did too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
Yeah, the V carb.
did they put so if
think-
the V carbs, we know within the teams the two cars are usually slightly different. One's usually slightly behind in upgrades than
Yeah,
the other.
just depending on
Typically
upgrade schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when they took Yuki out of the Racing Bulls, did they put then Isaac into Yuki's car and then put Liam into
No.
the car Isaac?
I know.
was at?
I don't
No,
think they
you
would
don't
have
know.
done
chance.
so. No.
Just too much messing around to try to get
It's
it right.
possible. Like, it's not all the time that they have to stagger upgrades. Sometimes they just do because of build schedules and stuff like that, or money.
Or I was gonna say, or money.
It's possible that they didn't have to do that for the V carbs yet. So no, I don't think they would have swapped cars.
Yep.
Unless
enough.
they.
I was just curious because Yuki was finishing top 10 in V carbs and competing.
Yep.
no problem.
Yep.
So now we're seeing Isaac do it, so that's fun. Lawson, right? I think where I would expect him to be. I think that between P15 and worse is where I'm kind of expecting Liam to be the rest of the season. Honestly, it would be nice to see him compete. It would hurt my soul to say that he should be beating Jack Doohan and Pierre Gasly right now, but Alpine doesn't look that great. Williams is.
Should he be
hit or miss.
beating his teammate though? Isaac Hadjar.
Absolutely.
should
I mean,
be.
I would think so. You have a little bit more F1 experience than Isaac, obviously.
Especially if
you've had
he-
more time in the car and around the F1 car.
Especially if he was promoted to a Red Bull.
Yep.
You would expect him to be above Isaac.
Especially for someone who Helmut said was on par with Yuki.
But this is right. Well, obviously, we found out that Helmut talks out of his gums. Yeah.
Old man yells at Cloud.
Oh my God.
Classic.
Yeah. No, that's a good.
Al-
That's a
yeah,
good point.
Alpine.
But I think if we're gonna give Yuki a race, we got to give Lawson a race too. You know,
Sure.
It does hurt me a little bit, but it's just.
I give
I
him
don't know.
a
We got to
little-
give him at least a race, maybe two. Get used to the V carb again.
Yeah.
Although you've already been there, but and then see, you know, and then if he's still getting beat, especially this bad by Isaac, that's a huge red flag. And then whatever his name is, Schmuck, something Schmeckle.
What?
Vander-
Arvid Lindblad.
Arvin Lindblad. Yeah, I always forget his name.
That's not who you were trying to say.
He wasn't even
You
close.
weren't even close.
Vinblad.
No.
Wait,
no,
did
you
I-
said
Vinblad?
Schmuckle.
Yeah, Schmeckle or
No.
Schmuckle.
Yeah, no, I know.
But
He's
Vinblad,
probably
yeah,
right.
that guy.
Arvid Lindblad.
Lindblad.
That's not even close to Schmuckle.
I keep saying
I
Vinblad.
think he was saying Schmeckle. That's
Arvin Lindblad.
Wait,
yeah.
Are you Jewish?
Schmeckle.
Schmeckle. Couple of Schmeckles.
Schumacher.
Oh my God. That's truly where I was going with it,
Yeah,
obviously.
Schumacher.
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
makes sense.
Yep,
Makes sense. Makes
clearly. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Racing Bulls. Oh, all right. Let's just go into Williams. Albon getting P9.
Solid.
He's in the points. Can't complain about that. Carlos still seems like he's getting used to the car. Williams seems to have hit or miss strategies that Albon's not necessarily happy about. I have a comm from him that we'll
Yeah.
get to. Let's see. Haas. I'm just going to turn to you all season for
Ollie
Haas.
Behrman's great. I like this kid. He's
Got a
great.
point.
He outperformed Esteban.
Shocker. Sorry.
Yeah. And yeah, he drove good. He held his position. He qualified 10th. He held 10th. Kept a lot of good cars behind him.
You know, I will say we're seeing a lot of the Red Bull effect happening where we have one driver getting points and the other driver all the way down on the grid, which is not helping their teams,
I mean,
you know?
To be fair, Esteban
Alpine
has
is
more
not.
points.
You're right. Alpine
They're
is
pretty close to
consistently
each other.
bad.
Consistently not good.
You know what's
Consistently not good.
the wicked part about that is that Aston's Max Verstappen right now is Lance Stroll. Just let that sink in.
Yeah.
Stroll got
Lance
20th.
Lance got all the points.
Yeah, but Lance so far.
So far, he
Lance
has got all the points.
points.
That's true.
Yep.
But he really showed his true colors this last race.
No, but
I'm
Beer-
hoping it was just a bad race for him, honestly.
For
Stroll,
Lance.
yeah.
Lancelot, yeah. Well, we'll see next week.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll see. But no, Bierman getting P10. I mean, 3
Solid.
rookies in the top 10 is. I did not see that coming.
Hey, awesome.
Really in any race this season. So the fact that that's happening is kind of fun.
Rookies are good.
You know, we're getting comments.
Rookie's good. I'm very happy with rookies.
Rookie's
Bortoletto
good.
was kind of
Rookies good.
kind of
Veterans bad.
shafted.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a kick.
But
He's
like,
in kicks, exactly.
but like usually, you know, when some of these vets aren't doing so well, let's say Gasly, let's say Carlos Sainz, maybe even Hulkenberg, even though he's in a crap car. You know, usually when teams aren't doing well, they're kind of like, quote unquote, subtweeting, you know, in their interviews about the car being bad or something in the somewhere in the team, something being bad and something else. And we're not seeing that right now. Like Gasly, Carlos, these guys are still saying like, oh no, we're gonna be fighting for points. Like good things are still to come this season. But like even this early in the season, sometimes you're seeing guys, car's just not good, you know.
Yeah.
But so
Hard to do when you have the Max Verstappen effect happening. you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Oh, for sure. Let's see. Aston, we've kind of already briefly mentioned them. Alonso finishing P11. I mean, that's his best finish of the year.
He finished.
Right?
He finished the race.
That's true.
So-
Yeah, he finished the race.
There's that. Step 1 for the champ. Lance. Yep.
Dead last.
Yep.
Alpine.
seconds.
Honestly, I really want to Alpine too because
Yep.
it's just not. Got to get a new hat
Look,
because
I'm
this is
still
just
looking
not
at you.
fun.
I'm still looking at you. You both were calling me crazy for Haas in 5th, and you put Alpine in 5th. And here they are
It's coming.
with 0
It's,
points.
Who did I put in
it-
fifth?
it's coming. It's coming.
Aston.
No, shoot, I did. But who did I put above Haas? Williams.
Basically
V-Carb,
everyone.
That's true.
Alpine,
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah, Alpine was a bad call.
But I had Haas. I had Haas in 9 too. So
I also very much regret putting Aston so high too. That's like the biggest regret I have.
Yeah, I got
I
Aston
looked
in
into the
6.
future and saw Aston having a bad car.
We both put V-Carb at 8. That's dumb. I feel
I put
like.
V-Carb low
V-Carb
too.
is in 8 right now.
at the moment, but I don't think that.
Oh my
I don't
God,
know.
Are they really?
They are.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Aston Martin's beating them.
What?
Yeah.
Beating V-Carb? Really?
That's
Aston Martin's-
Lance, bro.
Aston Martin's making it all the way
No,
to
I mean,
fifth,
that's our
baby.
champ right
That's
there.
what I'm saying.
That's our champ.
That
That's
is
our
Banner
man.
with the boys champion.
That's our
Lance
Nepo,
Stroll.
baby. That's our guy.
Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, Alpine dumpster fire right now. Gasly still feels confident that there's speed in the car and he's gonna find it. Jack
believe him.
Doohan, Logan Sargent. I mean Jack Doohan. It's just
Look at such
I don't know.
goat.
Oh,
We'll
dang.
see. Give him a few more races. I'm not feeling confident in Doohan right now. Sauber.
Yep.
Nico Hulkenberg.
Yep.
Solid 16th. You know what? Better than I would have expected out of the car.
Did Bortoletto crash in practice at all this week? No.
No, he kept it
Thinking
up.
of something else. Okay. Good. I don't know. See, that's how much I pay attention to Sauber right now. Wait till next year. Well, I won't even need to pay attention to him next year because he will be.
Hello. I'm watching them right now. It's okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm still
You're
watching-
getting excited
I'm
for
still
next
watching
season?
Sauber. I'm so excited.
Yeah. All right. Okay, we don't have a transition for this, but the comms. What did you guys have any good comms this week? We'll start with you, Mike.
Oh crap! I think I did, but I'm not. I'm blanking on
Unbelievable.
it.
You
I
didn't even
write
put it in
down.
your notes?
It was like 2 a.m. So
I mean,
like
to
1
be
a.m.
fair,
I was
to,
so tired.
To be fair, yeah, it
be
was
fair.
it was 2 a.m. Joe, any good ones?
So the one that it was sad in the moment because it was happening to him, but the commentator said it, and I thought it was hilarious. He called it Beltgate, the issues that Hadjar was having. Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's what-
they had no idea what was happening. They just had like assumptions that it was like the belt.
They just kept having him.
So
they
like-
knew he was complaining about it.
Yeah, so I think like Crofty said it once. He's like, yeah, and the Beltgate, and I just thought that was really funny.
That's so funny. I didn't even hear him say that.
Yeah, so that's like the one note I had, and then I have a couple like rummaging around there, but I think you'll cover off on them in the ones you have.
Well, I only have a couple here. Albon had
Yep.
one. He just kind of came on.
Albon was
to the
bad.
team, and he was the one I have down is honestly, you guys make absolutely no sense. To which they responded, okay. And then
Okay.
and then he said like ridiculous, and then they went on about something else. They were telling him about Bierman, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was about Bierman pitting before him. So Albon was
You guys
was
make
upset
no
about that, and I think Albon is a little spicy so far to start the season. So dare I say, like Albon could end up being our Commeister of the year at the moment.
Maybe.
But what do you got over there? I got one from one of the commentators too that I really loved. But
The Albon one was the biggest one that I had on my mind. I don't know if I have any that I definitely didn't note many of them, but the Albon one was one that stuck out.
Okay.
I think
dude, yeah, they're just like okay. Oh,
Me
my God.
going on a rant on the internet. The guy who I'm ranting to giving me just K.
Yeah. Right. The one that one of the commentators said that had me rolling, and it's really not funny to everybody, probably. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. But you know how, like, oh, you had to have the balls or the cojones for that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
This dude was like, didn't know if he'd have the minerals to go through with it. And I really loved the usage of the word minerals in that
Minerals.
situation. So I thought it was hilarious. I'm definitely going to use the minerals. But, yeah, anyway.
That's
I guess that's a
Pretty
nerd
awesome.
joke because you guys aren't laughing.
no. I mean, that's funny.
Apparently, my IQ's
breathed
low.
quickly
Okay, I
out
thought it
the
was
window.
You are
hilarious.
projecting.
Oh my,
Sound crazy right
oh
now.
my god. Anyway, any other comms before we move on?
Apparently,
to
Yuki
news?
had one.
Yuki usually has one.
He's another spicy one.
I love Yuki.
Yuki gets fired up.
It was actually he was just like, yeah, the car's messy, but I'll give you feedback. Car's interesting.
Car's
but
I think he
it's
said it-
okay, I guess. Yeah.
I think that was literally his words. He said the
Car's
car is
interesting.
interesting.
That
Yeah.
gives Yuki. That gives us nothing. You realize that, right?
I don't think he
We
wants
can't
to.
work
Yeah,
with
I
that.
imagine he doesn't want to say anything else.
Divulge.
Yeah, I just like looked
Well,
up really
considering
quick.
other teams are listening to the comm channels too, you know.
Yeah, I looked
Because there
looked
was
it up.
one where another team brought that up this race, and I can't remember who that was.
For what?
I feel like it was Williams. Like, oh, Haas is doing this or whatever.
Oh.
You know, trying to, like, let the driver know. And it was probably Albon, to which he was probably like, whatever, you know. I don't know. I can't
me to
remember.
it.
But I think it was Williams. What?
Gotcha.
I can't remember what that comment is. I didn't put it down.
Yeah, Albon was like the main. I think just looking at he had like gear shift issues or something. So
Oh, I remember that.
yep.
With that, Kev, let's head into our news. So to fly through this news, Raher, Mercedes Fred Vesti, Aston Martin's Felipe Drugovich, and Williams Luke Browning will drive in FP1 at the Bahrain GP, replacing George Russell, Fernando Alonso, and Carlos Sainz. I know we covered it in the first episode of the season, but I believe drivers have to give up 2 practices in the calendar now.
Yep.
So that's just all this is. Getting some testing done. Let's see. I saw this in a couple articles. I don't know how true this is. They were kind of weird articles. Cadillac team principal Graham Loudon may have let out that Colin Herta, IndyCar, which has already been mentioned by Mike on the show here. Got it here first. And Jack Crawford, who is currently an F2 driver, and he's currently Aston's reserve driver for F1, are a couple names that have been dropped. But Cadillac has allegedly talked to 7 or 8 drivers, quote, in quote, also preliminary talks. So how do we feel about Colin Herta and Jack Crawford, if those were the 2? Or do you think neither one is, and this is smoke and mirrors, and it's going to be Sergio Perez and Danny Rick?
So I mentioned before
Or
the pod.
Bottas is another one that's been tied to them as well.
I mentioned before the pod that I had some conflicting news, and this was it.
I figured.
I had heard
Because there's nothing on here.
right. So first off, Andretti had said that it would be hard to get an American driver into Formula One right now. Which was just like a very small thing that they had brought up. But in that same bit that they were talking, Mario Andretti had said that Liam's performance actually makes Checo look very good, which was like
Correct.
a very
Correct.
small thing that like somebody who's pretty high up in the Cadillac division is talking about another driver and is praising him like that is like a big look that a lot of people are like wait, Checo might not really be out of this, and so. That was kind of like a thing that I saw news, I think last week, that was saying Andretti was like, yeah, we don't see Americans. And then you came up and you were like, maybe we do.
Hey, I called it the episode 2 or whatever. Checo's going to be back.
I'm with it. I'm
He's
on
going to
board.
be back.
Checo's going to come back.
You guys are delusional.
Checo's
Who's the
gonna
2
come back.
drivers?
I honestly think they'll probably go with like. I honestly think one of their drivers is going to be newish. It's going to be probably a rookie.
Agreed.
I would not be surprised if the other one is a rookie too. I think it's probably better if they get a vet. I don't think it's going to be Checo though.
Is Bottas a good fit?
Oh yeah,
Bottas
definitely.
is
Bottas is a great fit. I don't think he's going to do it, but I think Bottas would be a
Do
great
you think
fit.
he doesn't do it, or do you think they don't want him, per se?
I think Mercedes could offer more money probably, but
but what is Mercedes? You
I
think
mean,
Mercedes would offer him more money to be a
Bottas
reserve
wants
driver?
to drive. I could also see Mercedes giving him to them. Like even if he had a long contract, I could see them ending it if he wants to drive because they like him so much.
Yeah.
I think he wants to drive a car, and if he's
he
given the
definitely
opportunity
does.
to, he'll go. Do I think they're looking at him? Probably not. But I don't think they're looking at Checo.
God, if they're two
crazy.
vets, though, think about it. Sergio, Checo, and Valtteri. That'd be funny. Be a
Wouldn't
funny
it be-
way to start your team.
Two second seat drivers
just
for
not on
two
board. Joe's
different
not on board, but
WDCs.
Joe's not on
I
board.
just don't see it happening. I don't know.
Do you see Checo returning to F1 at all, or do you think that's it?
I think it's interesting that he's come out saying that he's looking at his options for it, but that's all we've heard so far. He also confirmed that he was staying around Red Bull for a long time, but then he got kicked.
So you don't trust
He can't
Checo,
say
is what
that
you're
though.
telling me.
He honestly, he can't say that I'm gonna get kicked. Obviously he's not gonna say that.
Well, right.
But
Yeah, that's true.
I just
I'm
don't.
gonna
I just
get
don't
fired
see
tomorrow,
him. I just
you know?
don't see Caddy taking him.
usually
I think they're gonna take someone else. I just don't see it happening. I will happily eat my hat if it happens.
Your whole head.
My whole hat.
We
eat
will have
I'll eat
video
the
of that
tinfoil
on
hat.
Facebook next year when Checo signs with Cadillac. this offseason.
I don't have any good
Or the summer.
alternatives either. Like I don't have any good reasons. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think if I were to just take a shot at the dark for like my 2 picks, I think I'm picking Checo Perez as the lead driver with Colin Herta. Because I think if they can have an American driver,
I'm kind of on board with Mike here.
I also don't think Colin Herta will get in because he has not driven in F1 he has not driven in the discipline.
He does have enough super license points to drive in Formula 1.
That's great. He hasn't driven
I know in Indy,
you are correct.
And I know
it is unheard of.
I know they're both open wheel. I know IndyCar is not a
I don't
Formula
know if it's
1
unheard
car,
of. I just don't think it's a smart move.
Well, I mean, it's unheard of in the fact that it's never happened before.
Has it? Have we confirmed? Okay.
Yeah, it
I've
hasn't
never been an IndyCar driver.
We haven't seen somebody move from like
Move
Indy
from
to
a different discipline right into F1.
right into F1. Yeah. We've seen drivers move from other disciplines into like Formula 2 and then potentially
And
mess around there.
we've seen plenty of F1 drivers go into different like
Yes.
disciplines.
for sure.
No
We know
problem
that.
whatsoever.
Yeah. I watched Kimmy race NASCAR.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that lasted a day.
Max has a sponsorship with Aston Martin to drive their supercars.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is sick.
which is sick.
Yeah.
So like
Jack Crawford, that was more of like a reasonable,
That's
I think.
possible.
It makes more sense.
That's very possible.
Than taking an IndyCar driver.
Yeah.
But if you're Cadillac,
I also
you
don't
want
think they
performance
go for,
on the track, right?
Yeah.
But you need PR to get the team kicking and to just get people interested in it first. Like you're not going to be competing for anything. Right at the beginning. You know what I mean?
Do they want to go in with PR to get already F1 fans, or they want to bring a lot of just American or Cadillac fans with them?
That they want to tap the American market, but they want to get more fans in America, and that's why I think
So you need a driver that Americans know. Yeah,
either
And that's
Colin
where Colin Herta comes in.
or in Bottas's contract he has to have a mullet. and then it's fine.
to be with Cadillac, you need to keep the mullet and the mustache.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If you don't look like a NASCAR driver, we don't want you.
That's a great point.
So that's it. We figured it out. So Bottas, #1 driver at Cadillac with a mullet, and then a pick between Colin Herta and Jack Crawford. Okay, perfect. And then Checo.
Checo.
Yeah, Checo.
Very looking forward to seeing what they do there.
Yeah, for sure.
Summer break.
Let's see. Haas has been driving with a flawed underbody.
Yeah, so I guess this is me. Yeah, so I did look into this. Yeah, I guess they were in Bahrain testing. They were seeing some issues with turns 9 and 10 in Bahrain with struggles with the car. And they were kind of uncertain what was going on. They thought it might have just been something specific to Bahrain. So they were doing little minor tweaks here and there, but couldn't figure it out. And then they got to Melbourne and were like, oh, crap, we just can't turn in high corners. And I guess it's because their underbody got a major flaw in it where they're not able to get enough air underneath the car. And so that's creating problems with, with all of their downforce and everything. So high-speed corners are a problem. And a quote from Ayao had stated, the main issue appears to be the VF25 at low ride heights. And so the lower they drop that car, the more problems they're going to have. And so he had also stated the fact that this is something that they don't think they can fix quick because they're going to need to spend time in the wind tunnel trying to figure out what is going on and how to resolve it. So this could be multiple races before we start to see a change.
That sucks.
But
That sucks for Haas.
we're still getting points.
But Bierman got a point. So
we're still putting up multiple points. So I'm like, how much pace do
what's
we
this
have if
wee
we
stuff?
fix this?
Bierman. Well, Ocon
Esteban
had a great. Ocon had a great
is in
race
8th
before,
in constructors
but-
right or in WDC right now.
Well, just give it another week.
Okay, okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
Okay, buddy.
So yeah, that's all I have.
Fair enough.
He's in 9th.
9th. Okay, whatever. 1 point up.
How many points until he's in?
He's
11th.
He's competing, or he is currently matching points with Stroll.
Correct.
Lance.
Which is our champion.
Yeah, Banter with the Boys champion. Kev, let's move right into our Bahrain preview.
And per usual, we are going to get up to speed for Bahrain. This year's race is called the Formula One Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix 2025. The first F1 race to be held in the Middle East in 2004. And turn 1, named Michael Schumacher, is the only turn with a name on this track. Just a couple of fun facts to get you ready for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Looking back, last year's race, Mike, the starting grid was Max Verstappen to Charles, to George Russell, to Carlos Sainz. The 2024 season starts with Max leading the pack, Charles getting alongside him into turn 1, but maintaining places. Down the road, Lance Stroll taking the corner a bit too much and getting pit by the Haas of Hulkenberg to the side of the track where he falls to last place. Bottas ends up running into the rear of Hulkenberg at the same time of the squirrel, picking up a little bit of damage on the first lap. All the meanwhile, Perez makes the move up to 4th and is still dominant Red Bull. Our current WDC contender Lando Norris makes the move on Alonso for 6th place, while Russell makes a similar move on Leclerc for the 2nd podium position. The start of the race proving quite competitive as Oscar makes the move shortly after Lando to overtake Alonso. Lap 7, Perez improves his ranking as he takes the final podium position from Leclerc after Charles had a lockup going into the back half DRS straight. And lap 11, Russell's already 8 seconds away from Verstappen, under pressure from Perez, while right behind the Ferraris begin to battle each other for position. 3 laps later, the move is made on Russell, promoting Red Bull to a 1-2 early on in the race. We see more fighting between the Ferraris a few laps later, Carlos taking position from Charles, and then fighting George for the final podium position only a lap later. He takes the position before the end of the lap. Get this man's back in the Ferrari, or in a Williams, or in a Red Bull, or in an Audi. I don't know. Yeah. We witnessed the infamous minute pit stop from our boy Bottas as the crew brings out the wrong tire, and he has to sit there for what feels like an eternity. He still makes it back on track.
Poor mullet.
Here's the kicker. He still makes it back on track in front of Logan Sargent. The Ferrari of Leclerc fights the Mercedes of Russell for 4th place on lap 47, makes the move and finds Ferrari in a 3-4. 10 laps later, our 2025 Japan GP winner takes the Bahrain Grand Prix winner's trophy a year ago. Max crossed in line about 23 seconds ahead of Perez in 2nd. Our final is Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Norris, Hamilton, Piastri, Alonso, and Stroll.
Boom. Wow. Dang. That
really messed up our set, though.
If that would have came over here and paper cut me in the neck, that would have been really unfortunate.
I'm going to start doing that, but I got to throw it behind me.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I just messed up the set.
Broke everything.
I'm just...
you know what? You know what? Just
it's a work in progress.
There you go.
Work in progress.
There you go. Boom. Just like that. Let's see. So to recap our points, none of us chose Max winning because we're all idiots.
Yeah, that's on me.
It's all on you.
But
blame me.
2 of us at least had him on our podiums. Anyway, long story short, Joe ended up with 3 points. Mike ended up with 3 points. Smelty ended up with 2 points. That brings our total to Smelty leading with 10. All right. I'm rarely in the lead of anything on any of the Banter with the Boys shows. So awesome. And I host all of them. Let's see. And Joe and Mike are tied at 7.
Still.
So that's fun.
We're coming for you.
Very slowly, but surely.
Slowly, but
you're getting there. Yeah, you're getting there. You almost had it. So wait, so I got to go first.
You got to go first.
Dang.
And we still have to figure out who went first last week.
You did.
I did? Okay, you go first then.
So yeah,
you
sounds like you're going first.
So you guys, you guys go first.
No, you go first.
You go first. No.
man,
Don't you try and pawn this off on us.
Yeah, I thought I had it. Who winning this week on Bahrain?
Ooh, yikes. Yeah, I mean, if I can, give you a little bit of historical advice, Red Bull has 1-2'd it the last like 3 years. Maybe 2 years actually.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. Flip side, our GOAT Lance Stroll.
He's notoriously bad at this track. He got 9th place last year.
He got 9th place?
Yeah, that wasn't too bad.
That's incredible.
Oh, sorry, 10th. Still
10th
points.
Place.
What's after Bahrain? Jeddah.
Oh, I love Jeddah. I love if we can just, I love Bahrain and I love Jeddah. They're so much fun, dude.
I feel like Max is really good in the Middle East in general.
I feel like Max is just really good in general.
He's just really good in general. He's just a champion. He's a 4-time
I feel
champ.
like Max is just really good.
There he is.
All right.
brought
Here it
him
is.
out.
Here it is. Here it is. It's gonna be in this order. Max, Lando, George.
Whoa, no Oscar? What's wrong with it?
No, wait. I'm sorry. No, Oscar, not Lando.
Max,
Oscar, George.
No,
yes.
Lando?
Lando's in 4th.
Lando's in 4th.
Kimmy, maybe 5th or 6th, and then Charles is in there somewhere.
Okay, we don't care.
Hamilton lives in P7.
Didn't ask.
Not,
So
no, we did not ask.
that's fine.
All right.
You go
well,
second.
So I'm going to say, you said, what was it? You said Max,
I said
Oscar,
Max,
George.
Oscar, George.
Crazy
Which
work,
is kind
by
of
the way.
crazy. So here's the thing. I'm putting faith in Lando one more time. I'm putting Lando in 1st.
Okay.
I'm putting
Max.
Oscar in 2nd.
Jesus.
Yep. Let me
And-
guess. Max Verstappen.
Max Verstappen in 3rd.
All right. Hey, he's
He's
on the
super
podium.
fast.
He's got to
He's
be
on-
on the
he's
podium.
got
And you know what?
I will say,
Ditto.
I will say, yeah, fair. I will say, I've been a little unimpressed with Lando the last couple races.
But you put him first.
Yeah, this is
Your last
kind of his
hurrah.
Yeah, like don't let me down.
This is his
Don't
prove
let
it
me down.
race. So then when he doesn't win in Bahrain and you change it up at Jeddah,
He's never touching the podium again.
he's getting the dub in Jeddah.
Yeah.
Confirmed.
In 2024, Oscar was not even in. Oh, he was. He was low.
He was like P8, right? You said
Yeah.
P7.
He
He
was
was low.
P8.
He was low. I'm taking a chance. But I'm taking a chance based
That's
on
so
what I've
interesting.
seen this season. I think
Max
Oscar has
is
better pace than
typically-
Lando.
Max is typically very good. This track, though, is also good for overtaking. I think there's a really good shot. Even if the McLarens don't qualify well, they catch up.
He's won here before.
Man, I feel like I've been so boring. The last 3
Do something
races, I've
crazy.
done like the exact same thing.
Dude,
I'm not
I've
gonna
put
do something
Lando,
crazy.
Oscar 1, 2.
But you're tied
every
for
episode.
second by doing the same thing.
I
So,
can't put something crazy because I don't think Bahrain is typically a crazy race. So
Put Kimmy on the podium.
It's a new year.
Put Kimmy on the podium.
You won't.
you're right. I won't.
No minerals.
You're right. I won't.
No minerals.
No minerals. Just so I can be different
guy's
from
got
you.
no minerals.
Just so I can be different. We're gonna go Oscar,
Max.
Yeah. Actually,
Valid.
Oscar, Lando.
Okay, though. So
Max.
we've predicted 3 different race winners. So
That's kind of nice.
think we've done that.
somebody's getting 2 points this weekend, probably. Based
I
on
hope so. Yeah, I hope so. It would be
somebody's
crazy.
getting 2 points based on picking the race winner.
Unless it's George, none of us are getting at
I'm-
least a point.
I'm more shocked
I'm
that
still getting a point of
I'm
George.
so shocked that Smelty's only going to get 1 point this weekend. That's crazy.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you put Max to win, didn't you?
Sure did.
Oh, well, okay.
He's probably getting like
he'll
3
get 2
points.
points.
2 or 3 points.
He'll get 2
yeah.
points. Okay.
I'm getting 3 at least.
See how big you talk
Because of Max or because of Oscar?
because of Max.
Because of George?
Yeah.
George.
I'm
You're
getting
so
3 at
confident
least.
George is in 3rd.
Yes. George is gonna.
Honestly,
Mercedes is
Mr.
gonna have an
Consistent,
interesting year. man.
honestly.
honestly, George in 3rd isn't a
It's-
hot take
no,
at all.
it's definitely not.
It's not a
definitely
hot
not.
take. That's the thing.
No.
But nobody wants to talk about that. It's McLaren or obviously Max.
If we're looking at history and stats, Lando needs to be in your podium because he's been in the podium every single race so far.
You're talking to the leader, buddy. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god! The ego on this guy. How do you fit in that hat?
You know
the
what?
funny part is I don't actually. I wish it was.
You know what? I didn't think about that. That's a good point. That's a good point. I will stop talking.
My bad. My bad.
No. I basically said what I wanted to. Historically, Lando's the only one that's gotten into the podium each time. Max has been, and then it's between Max and George for who's the most and Oscar actually for who's the most consistent.
Just
after
wait.
that.
George
I didn't-
will be in my number 1 slot at some
I didn't
race.
even take this into account. I wrote this down. I didn't take this into account when making my own podium. I'm not changing anything, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
Ferrari was struggling in Bahrain testing with understeer in Bahrain, while Mercedes looked to be in tip-top form and were super dominant in Bahrain. So you might actually be cooking with George in the podium.
But
So-
we all still picked Ferrari to be second in constructors, and right now it is not looking awesome for
looking
that.
awesome.
So
didn't expect
At least I'm not alone.
We didn't expect Kimmy to be so good.
We can all
At least
suffer
I
together.
didn't.
I didn't. We won't get into it. We'll table it because we're already over. But like, no, none of us. I didn't either. And with the 2 veteran drivers at Ferrari, there's a lot of hype. I felt like they were coming in with a fast car.
I do have to give it to you though.
They ended last season okay.
The first race was like a cluster, and
For sure.
and like I kept on saying, Kimmy got that high up because it was a cluster, but he's consistently gotten points every single race.
Japan is
right.
Japan with the little overtaking. I mean, you just got to be fast.
Yeah.
You just got to be fast, and he was fast, and he had the fastest lap.
Yep.
I
So,
feel bad.
I don't know. It's really interesting.
I feel bad that the race for the podium is like so close between like 4 people that like I'm not paying attention to the rookies as much as I feel like I wanted to because we're just so close up there.
Yeah, there's a lot of battling going on all over the grid. I mean, between those and then like 12 through 15, 16, 17 is kind of a battle sometimes too. So
Yep.
yeah, no. Yeah, Mike. Well, thanks for being here, brother.
Thanks,
I
Mike.
was here.
Thanks, Mike.
You were here.
It was great.
Mike was here. It was good.
I was here.
It was good.
I'll have to give you my hot take later because we don't have time for it.
Whoa.
I'm gonna gray your hairs.
I mean, do you want to just give it real quick, just with no context?
It's not gonna be quick.
Yeah,
No?
no.
Okay.
Okay,
You will
fair
not
enough.
let it be quick.
Fair enough. All right.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
a good point.
Fair enough. All right. Fair enough. Next week.
Next week.
Should we start
Maybe
with his
next
hot take next week?
Oh god, that'd be
Just rip the
maybe.
Band-Aid off. Hot take.
Depends
right
on how
after
crazy
intros.
Bahrain. If Bahrain's anything like
True,
Japan, then we'll
true.
have all the time in the world. I say
Good.
that.
Good
We're
call.
an hour
Yeah.
in.
Good call. Good call. Joe. Good job.
Thank you so much.
yeah.
I
Good
tried
job.
really hard.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Good. Good. I'm glad you're happy to be here. Not calling your mom this week to come pick you up.
She's
that's
already
after
here.
that's after the
Oh,
pod.
she's already here. Dang
She's
it.
been here for a while.
She's actually
Because
texting him
of
right
she's
now.
waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to the banter, whether that's Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio. And with that, I think we are here next week.
Yeah.
I should have looked that up. Yep, we're here next week.
Jenna.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good. Yep, we're here.
What? You keep looking at me.
Dead silence. All right, all right, Kev. Peace.
Thank you for
We're out of here.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.